You are listening to the Self-Trust Solution Podcast with Dawn Ledet, episode number 7. Welcome back. Today, I want to talk about control. And this episode is good for anyone who likes to be in control or finds themselves struggling for control. Maybe you notice that you feel frustrated or disappointed or easily irritated because you are wanting control over things that maybe you don't have control over. So today we're going to talk about why we want control, what can and can't be controlled, how I recently handled feeling out of control, and what you can do when you feel out of control, as well as an invitation to create your own control protocol. If you want to know where you land on the self-trust scale, visit me at theselftrustcoach.com and take the free self-trust quiz. Let's dive in. So, why do we want control? The shortest answer to that is because we think that having control is going to create safety, or it's going to create peace, or it's going to equal success. Things are going to go our way if we have control. But the truth is that sometimes we have control and things don't go our way. And it's important to separate that out, that not only does control in many ways can be an illusion, but it doesn't create success. It doesn't create safety. It doesn't create peace. And often it's not even a truth, a fact that you have control. Because what can and can't be controlled? The truth is that we cannot control other people. We can't control words that people say. We can't control circumstances or situations. There are lots of things that are outside of our direct control. Can you influence? Sure. Can you have a part in? 100%. But there are some things that we just don't have control over. And accepting that and focusing on what you do have control over can be freedom in itself. So what we do have control over are our thoughts, which create our feelings. We have control over the actions we take and don't take. And we have control over the results we create, which is amazing news, because then the circumstances that we cannot control, the words people say, the situations that happen, doesn't have to mean that we aren't going to create results we want in our lives. So great. And if we can focus on the things that we can control, our thoughts, our feelings, our actions, creating the results we want in our lives, and not on those things we can't control, then we are utilizing all of our energy in a way that serves us, that focuses on what we control instead of what we don't. I recently had an experience where I felt very out of control. And it was a presentation that I was making to a group of people that I really respect. And I went into this presentation prepared, and I would say confident of the material that I was going to share. I was just sharing a piece of me. So very much like I do here with you all. So just sharing kind of how my brain works, hoping that some of it could be helpful to this group of people. Even if it helps one person, feels amazing to me. So I went in feeling pretty good that I could move forward through it, sharing what I was going in there to share. And then the meeting started, and my presentation was at the end. And throughout the beginning of the meeting, I started noticing my brain going in a million different directions. I noticed fear coming in. I noticed doubt. I noticed thinking things like, they're going to think this is stupid. No one cares. I shouldn't do this. I hope that they forget that I'm supposed to present. All of these things are going through my mind. And I'm feeling out of control in response to all these thoughts and the feelings that they're creating: doubt, insecurity, fear, swirling in a way that felt completely out of control. So, what did I do? I have 10 minutes at the end of this meeting, and the meeting is still going on at 9 minutes till. So, I'm starting to think maybe I don't have to do this. And then I'm thinking immediately after, like, but I kind of do want to do this. I don't want to wait to do it next time. And so then I just took a deep breath. It was time. The head of the meeting said, and now Dawn is going to speak to us. In an instant, I decided that I was going to give this presentation for the one person that it might help. I decided that, sure, someone may think it's not useful. Sure, someone may think it's stupid. Sure, someone may think, who cares? All of those thoughts that I was offering myself, which had no basis, are not true. I will add to this that these people that I really respect, that I'm about to present to at that moment, are lovely, amazing. Probably wouldn't even dawn on them to think any of those things. And yet, in that moment, it didn't serve me to argue that my brain was offering me those thoughts, that though that people could be thinking that. It just helped for me to not argue and say, sure, I still want to present this for the one person that it might help. Now, it turned out that it was helpful to at least a few people, which is amazing. But the point is that in that moment, when I felt out of control, thoughts spinning, a whirl of emotions, I had my own back. And I did that by not arguing with myself, by listening to those fears, those doubts, those insecurities, making space for them, and then deciding that it was okay that they were there, that I could still move forward and deliver a presentation that I was thrilled to be able to share, a piece of me that I was able to share with this group of people that are so amazing. So, what can you do when you feel out of control? A few things that I would offer you is to breathe and then to ask yourself a few questions. What am I trying to control that's not mine to control? What can I control in this situation? For me, it was the way I was thinking, the way I was going to respond to the way I was thinking, actually. Then what do I need in this moment? Ask yourself. It's probably not to argue with yourself or to shame yourself or to say mean things to yourself. What I needed in that moment was to just allow those thoughts to be there, to not argue, to have my own back on the presentation, and to tell myself that it was worth it because I could help one person. You can also ask yourself, what can I let go of in this moment? And in that example, what I did is I just said, sure, that thought could be true. Sure, someone could think that. Sure, someone could think that. And that's okay. I can just let that go. It's not a problem. And then you can ask yourself, I'm going to be okay either way. What do I want to do next? And that was me having my own back in that moment. And this is my invitation for you. You can decide, you can know actually that you're going to be okay either way. And if that's true, how do you want to move forward? my invitation for you is to create your own control protocol. For me, it was to breathe, to not argue with myself, to have my own back, and to decide what do I want to do, knowing that I'm going to be okay either way. What will you take away from today's content? My goal is for you to create space between what you can control and what you cannot, so that you can focus on your brilliance where it counts. Maybe you can create some clarity around why you want control. Question how releasing control in some areas may make room for more control in the areas that you can make an impact. Maybe you design your own control protocol when things aren't going the way you planned. I love this quote from Maya Angelou. Success is liking who you are, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. I would offer that self-trust is the fuel to do this, and it starts with releasing control over the things you do not control. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review. This helps me reach new people, continue to create content, and brings me joy in my mission to serve. Join us next week for episode number 8, where we're going to talk about expectations. Thanks for listening and have a trust-filled week. And if you're ready to unlock your self-trust fueled success, join me at theselftrustcoach.com to take the free self-trust quiz. The self-trust quiz will help you identify the areas that may be holding you back and pinpoint where in the achievement process you can use a little extra TLC. Take the free self-trust quiz at theselftrustcoach.com. See you inside.